Good morning, everyone. Thanks for watching us here on Monday, July 20th. This is After GMS, something we like to do every Monday through Friday on Facebook Live. You are watching one of the best crews that I know of on TV and online. I'm Tracy McCain here in the studio. Stacey Spivey and Megan Malaris are working from home, and Ed Matthews is working in the weather garden. And Ed, you get us started with a look at our forecast.
Okay, it's a very warm and muggy weather garden, but hey, we got plenty of sunshine and blue sky. It's a good looking morning in the Piedmont. Just kind of feels like a steam bath, and it's only going to get hotter today. We're back into the mid 90s with a heat index, or what it feels like on your body, above 100 later on today. Take it easy if you're working outdoors. Make sure you got plenty of water and stay hydrated. The heat continues through the week and into the weekend, but we will trim off at least a degree or two over the next several days. We're looking at about 93 tomorrow and Wednesday. Low 90s really right on through the rest of the week and into the weekend. Each afternoon we'll run the risk of a few storms. Today we're in the marginal risk for maybe a strong or severe storm with some damaging winds and some very heavy downpours with all this moisture around. So we'll keep an eye on those storms just for you later on this afternoon.
Well, thanks for doing that just for me, Ed Matthews. I would like a little more constant of a rain. It would kind of cool us off a little bit.
Yeah.
But I understand it is what Mother Nature has ordered. All right, let's jump right into our first conversation. The list of places now requiring masks for customers is growing. Stacey has the list, and you are monitoring what people are saying about it this morning.
Yeah, Tracy, so more big name stores are now requiring their shoppers to wear face masks while inside. So we want to know how these mask mandates have changed your daily routine or maybe your shopping habits. Go ahead and type away right now on our Facebook stream as I tell you more about it. So PetSmart is actually the latest to require a mask for all customers starting today. The company says this applies to anyone shopping in the store. And if you don't have one, you can ask a PetSmart employee for one. CVS will also start requiring masks for shoppers today as well. They join a long list of stores like Apple, Best Buy, Costco, Target, and Walmart, just to name a few. Now, Target's mandate will go into effect August 1st, and they'll be providing disposable ones at their store entrances. And then Walmart also announced last week that they're going to have health ambassadors, that's what they're calling them, and they'll be stationed at the entrance of stores to remind customers of the mask mandate. So we want to know, how have these mask mandates changed your daily routines or maybe your shopping habits? You can go ahead and start typing away in our comment section below. We want to know how this is affecting you. Guys, it really hasn't affected me much other than I've just been accumulating a lot of face masks. I have several at my house. We have them in the car. I have some in my purse. I have the disposable ones, but then I also have the reusable ones that I try to wash. And then I told Ed this yesterday on the Good Morning Show, but I thought I'd share with everyone today. My mom called me yesterday and said, "Stacey, I bought you a new face mask," and sent me photos. And it was a Disney princess one. And I couldn't help but laugh because I guess I'm still a child at heart.
Yeah, they're like trademarking, and companies are making a lot of money off of these, right? I mean, NFL teams, other professional sports teams, colleges, universities are making some money off of this because it is now kind of like a nationwide, not a federal mandated thing, but it's happening in more states across the country. Hasn't really affected me much. What has affected me much, as I mentioned earlier, is that I'm doing a lot more curbside stuff. So I will go to the store and I will pick up my order curbside, and I love it. Even at restaurants, even if the restaurant doesn't offer curbside service, I love to go and stay outside and say, "Hey, I'm outside, I've got kids in the car, would you mind bringing it outside?" And I swear to goodness, like 10 times out of 10, they're always like, absolutely. They don't mind at all. So it's kind of worked out for me in terms of curbside. Not really out and about that much. Don't even really know if everybody's wearing their masks or not, because I don't really do much or go anywhere. How about you, Ed?
I'm with you. I do a lot of staying at home and only go to places that I absolutely have to go. But really hasn't changed my life at all. I've been wearing masks. I got a stack of them in the console in the car. I've got a stack at home. I got even a stack here in the wood shop. So I've got one everywhere I go, and that's pretty much where I'm at, either at work or at home. So I'm never without a mask, and I'll continue to wear them as long as we have to. We got to get rid of this pandemic.
Not soon enough, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, Megan, it's your turn. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, you know, as far as more stores implementing these mask mandates nationwide, yeah, that's going to help the situation as a whole. But here in North Carolina, we were already under a mask mandate as it was, and most retailers were required to have both employees and customers wearing masks. So I don't think it'll change much in the way of North Carolinians wearing masks, because unless you have a medical exemption or another reason that exempts you from wearing a mask under the latest order, you should be wearing one anyway. I'm with Stacy, though, in that I've accumulated a ton of masks. I have one cloth mask that I keep in the diaper bag and I wash every time I wear it. But also the disposable masks I find are just easier. I have a box by my door. So for example, if the FedEx or USPS guy comes to my door and I need to sign something, I can just throw on a mask really quickly, not have to go look for one. But the key to those disposable masks is remembering to throw them away and get a fresh one the next time you need to wear one. So, you know, you don't just want them lying around your house because you don't know if they've been worn or not or who has worn them. So it's really crucial to keep up with that as well. I saw a comment from, I think it was Jason on our feed. He said, hey, I don't like wearing masks, but I do it anyway because that's the rule and that's what we have to do to get through this thing. So I think a lot of people are feeling the same way. We're anxious for the day when we don't have to wear one anymore. But for now, this seems to be the reality, and it does appear like most people are complying.
Right, Stacey, you're moderating this conversation for us on our feed. What else are people saying?
Well, George Spicer says he's exempt from wearing one, but he does most of his shopping online anyway. Melissa says she's thrilled to see this as long as it is enforced. No exceptions, no mask, get curbside. Sandy said, yay, good, in all caps. And Ramona said, it hasn't affected me. I wear my mask everywhere anyway. And let's see, there's a lot of people weighing in. Tanya says she's happy about it. James says that he shops at Food Line, where they still recognize that people have rights and do not force people to wear a mask if they choose not to. He said he's no longer shopping at Walmart. And then Isaac said, Megan, he agrees exactly with what you say. And Wanda says, when you can't wear one, do online orders, stay home. So keep weighing in and join the conversation.
All right, with that, we will get to our morning headlines. Megan, start us off.
Yeah, well, masks should be something that school districts consider. In fact, the North Carolina Board of Education is requiring school districts statewide to submit their reopening plans, including any plans for remote learning for the upcoming school year. The deadline for that is supposed to be today. So Candace Redd is breaking down Guilford County Schools' reopening plans and options on the table for the upcoming year.
The Guilford County Board of Education is considering 3 scenarios to reopen schools for the upcoming academic year. All 3 scenarios fall under Plan B of the State Department of Public Instruction's guidance for reopening public schools. Well, Governor Roy Cooper says school districts statewide will use Plan B at the start of the school year. It calls for moderate social distancing, 50% occupancy in school buildings, and a mix of in-person and remote learning. Well, Guilford County Schools' goal is to serve the largest number of students for the greatest amount of time while keeping students and staff healthy and safe. Well, Superintendent Dr. Sharon Contreras recommends the first 5 weeks of school to open as remote learning for all students. In Scenario A, students in grades K through 8th will attend school in person full-time. High school students will learn remotely 5 days a week. Students with disabilities or who are learning English, homeless, or living in foster care will attend school full-time, regardless of grade level. Moving on now to Scenario B. Students will go to school in person 2 days a week. They'll also learn remotely at home for 3 days a week in alternating groups. In Scenario C, half of the student body will attend school in person 1 week. The other half will attend the next week. Remote learning will take place on the alternate weeks. The Guilford County Board of Education will meet on July 28th to adopt one of the three scenarios, but district leaders, they do admit that all three scenarios come with advantages and disadvantages. For more information on that, all you have to do is visit our website. That's WFMYnews2.com.
Let's continue our headlines this morning. Winston-Salem police are looking for the shooter who killed a 21-year-old man. Officers responded to this shooting on East 15th Street shortly before 10 last night. Police say they found 21-year-old Rohan Rutherford shot and lying outside of a home. Rutherford was transported to the hospital by EMS where he died. Anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers 336-727-2800. Firefighters are still working to determine what started a massive fire in Thomasville Sunday. Davidson County firefighters responded to the fire Sunday afternoon at an abandoned warehouse and battled the blaze for hours until about midnight. Viewer Haley White sent us this video from the corner of Ridgecrest and Taylor Streets. EMS says no one was hurt, fortunately. The cause is under investigation. Well, a judge could make a final decision today on protests in Graham. At issue is an ordinance requiring protesters to request permission from Graham police 24 hours before gathering. Protesters say they followed the order, but their requests were either denied or ignored. The NAACP filed the lawsuit against the city, and today a federal court judge will decide to either continue blocking the ordinance or let it stand. We'll keep you posted on this.
In your national headlines, Kanye West held his first presidential campaign event in South Carolina yesterday. His talking points tackled topics on abortion, religion, international trade, and licensing deals. He also made some comments about Harriet Tubman that are getting a lot of attention in a negative way. West is on the presidential ballot in Oklahoma as an independent candidate. He's trying to get on the ballot in South Carolina, which will require 10,000 signatures by noon today. The Republican National Convention in Jacksonville, Florida will be smaller than originally planned. The first 3 days will only include delegates, which equals to about 2,500 attendees. You might remember the convention was supposed to be held in Charlotte next month, but convention reps moved it over concerns of our state's restrictions. Florida has emerged as one of the new coronavirus hotspots. The National Bobblehead Hall of Fame created presidential bobbleheads featuring President Donald Trump, the presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden, and Kanye West. The bobbleheads feature the candidates on star-shaped platforms with their sign on a yard sign. You can buy a single one or the entire pack of 3. Election Day coming up Tuesday, November 3rd.
Okay, when we talk about bobbleheads, you may think of sports, right? And that kind of leads us into our next conversation. Right now, the sports world is fighting to get back to play this season. And the NFL actually announced it would start the regular season on schedule despite the pandemic. Now, the Texans and Chiefs rookies report to training camp today, followed by rookies tomorrow and quarterbacks and injured players 2 days later. All other players will go to training camp on Tuesday, July 28th. Now, a lot of high-profile players took to Twitter voicing their concerns about this, like Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson. He says, quote, "I'm concerned. My wife is pregnant. NFL training camp is about to start, and there's still no clear plan on player health and family safety. We want to play football, but we also want to protect our loved ones." Carolina Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson saying, quote, "The NFL needs to create a safe environment for us to play. We shouldn't have to risk our health and our families." So this morning, we want you to type in Facebook comments. Let us know, do you think it's safe for the NFL to start their season? Guys, as I was thinking about it and typing and writing this out this morning, baseball season is supposed to start this week as well. And I was reading up on how the Chicago Cubs, who I'm a big fan of, how they're having extra dugouts to maintain social distancing. And I feel like in baseball, the players are usually pretty spread out except for in the dugout. So I appreciate that they're doing this. But when you think about football, it's such a contact sport that it's going to be really hard to social distance. Maybe it's different in training camps. I don't really know how those goes. I've never played football before, but just thinking about in the games, you know, it's one-on-one a lot of times. So be really hard to social distance. So interested to see how more players are going to react and how the NFL is going to take what they're saying and react to that as well.
Yeah, totally understandable that athletes are concerned about their safety for not only themselves but their families. I mean, they are fathers, they're husbands, they have families that they are obviously concerned about. So understandable. Now, if the NFL listens to those concerns, that has yet to be seen. We know that they were supposed to start in August. That's been delayed to September. Who knows if it will be delayed again? As you mentioned, Stacey, baseball starting up. So is professional basketball. Golf is continuing without friends. Premier League soccer and U.S. soccer have both started with that kind of tracked-in audio in the stands to simulate what crowd noise would be. So there are sports that this is happening, and I would say soccer is a contact sport. Some people might not agree with me, but I do feel like soccer is a contact sport as well as well, baseball can be too, but I was going to say basketball. So I think it just depends on the league and what their decisions are going to be. All right, Ed Matthews, get us started.
I don't see how the management of the NFL can make it safe. As we've been talking about, it is a contact sport. That's just a reality. I'm trying to imagine, social distancing and wearing a face mask and being safe while trying to play football. Too early to start football. I think we need to wait a little bit.
All right, Meg, your turn.
Yeah, well, Isaac just wrote a few seconds ago, I'd like to say I hope there's a cure or vaccine to get rid of coronavirus. Isaac, I think we all agree with you. We are hoping that there is a vaccine that's widely available sooner rather than later. As far as football, yes, it's a contact sport. I can sympathize with Russell Wilson, who's concerned about his pregnant wife and there being no clear plan. Obviously, this wouldn't work for all sports, but I wonder with football if there were a way to adapt the helmets as far as making some kind of like a face shield or covering. Some of the hockey players wear helmets that have more of a shield to protect their teeth. Is there some kind of adaptation that could be done to the equipment to make it work so players could reduce their chances of spreading this virus through that contact that they have? Obviously, that's not going to work with soccer, who players don't wear helmets. That might not work for baseball necessarily, but maybe for football you can make that work. That said, the season's supposed to start in a few weeks and we're kind of down to the wire here, so that's unlikely right now. But maybe if this were to go on till next year, these leagues would maybe be looking at some kind of equipment changes to make this more applicable for more players in stopping the spread of this virus.
All right, Stace, what are people saying on Facebook about it?
Well, we don't have a lot of comments right now. People are still weighing in on the mask mandate that we were talking about for shoppers at stores. But I did post this on my Facebook page earlier this morning and had some comments there. Andrea said, no, it's not time yet for contact sports. Playing with fire if they do. George says, I won't be watching football anymore, so I could care less if they play. And then Michelle says, no, high contact sports should begin at this time, in my opinion. You can keep weighing in. I'm going to keep watching and responding if you have any questions or anything, but I guess I'll go ahead and toss it back into you guys.
And it was interesting to see the poll results. About 70% from our poll this morning said that they were were not ready for NFL to start because they thought that it was not safe just yet. So that was the poll this morning, and it looks like, according to your Facebook page results as well, most people weighed in that way as well. All right, Ed Matthews, this forecast has me like, I just need like a personal-sized fan to like walk around with. My hand just doesn't have the speed that I need to fan myself effectively.
It's the same old song.
I'm trying to fan you off too.
There you go. Yeah, we need a big fan to cool everybody off. It's kind of the same song, different dance partner. Yeah, more hot weather for the Piedmont, the mid-90s today. Heat index above 100, a few storms. About the only good sign I can find, and this is not a big one, but we are able to trim a degree or two off as we go through the week. But I doubt you're going to feel really much difference. The heat and the humidity will continue, and also that chance of afternoon storms each day.
All right, thanks so much for the forecast, and thank you for joining us here on After GMS. Please continue to do so. Tomorrow we'll be back here at 7:45 for more great conversations and your morning headlines. Until then, everyone, take care of yourselves and stay safe.